Cross-border observation, the case of Örestat. This video was shot during the Interact event, Indicators and Data Collection, in Florence on the 2nd and 3rd of March 2017. In this video we present the Øresund project, which collects harmonized and comparable statistics across borders.
Hi everyone, my name is Peter Lundberg, as Daniela said. I work at the JTS of the Øresund Kattegat Skagerrak program, which is the correct pronunciation. Or the Denmark-Sweden-Norway program, which would be easier to understand. Before I start, let me just give you the state of play for my program. We have now finished our 5th call, and we have approved about 32 projects with a total of about 70 applications. There's about 65 million euros left out of a total of 143 million euros. I'm going to present a project from the previous period, the Ørestat project, which focused on cross-border statistics in the Øresund region. And the reason for the interest from Interact is that it works with harmonized and comparable statistics across borders, which could be used, for an example, to measure indicators. And it was originally the plan to have Daniel from Region Skåne here today, since it is his project, but he unfortunately couldn't make it. So now I didn't work for Interact in the previous period, and I don't know the project by heart, so bear with me. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to forward them to Daniel. Also, I promised Daniel that I would use his presentation, which means that I'll have to stay up here at this point, so I can actually read my notes. Okay, well, this is the area where the project took place, the Øresund region. And the Øresund region consists of the region Skåne in Sweden, including Sweden's first biggest city, Malmö, and in Denmark, the capital region, including Copenhagen and the region of Zealand. And in total, 3.8 million people live in the area, wherein 2/3 live on the Danish side. When the Øresund Bridge was connecting the two countries was opened in the year 2000, 2 questions were asked. How do we measure integration in our cross-border region? And how do we measure flows over the Øresund Strait? And the result was the Ørestat Corporation, which includes not only the region and the cities within the region, but also the 2 national agencies, Statistics Sweden and Statistics Denmark. And during the development process, Statistics Sweden and Statistics Denmark were able to produce statistical information that shows flows across the strait, for an example, labor commuting and migration. The database also includes harmonized and comparable statistics that makes it possible to analyze the 2 national parts of the region, and the database contains unique data that doesn't exist anywhere else. And as I said in the beginning, relating to those unique data, I don't really know. We need to contact Daniel about that, but we'll get to that. Oh. There you go. Okay. Well, the Ørestat 3 project, it received funds from Interact during the period 2011 to 2014. And the project, it had 3 main purposes. One was to develop new statistical information to follow the development and the integration in the Øresund region. The second was to create a new and more user-friendly database and website. And the third one was to secure the funding for the management of the annual update of the database after the project actually ended. And the 2 first aims were successfully carried out, but the third one regarding funding has been more difficult. And this last part of funding issue is also an area which Daniel asked me to emphasize here today, but I'll go more into this when I mention the obstacles the project found or encountered. Right. What you see here is an example of what's actually contained in the database. One example of statistical information from the Øresund database is labor commuting, which have increased since the opening of the bridge from around 3,000 persons to almost 20,000 in 2008. And these last years of financial turmoil has made an impact, showing a decrease naturally. And the blue column shows commuting from the Swedish side to the Danish side, and the red shows commuting from Denmark to Sweden. A big discrepancy there. A lot of Swedes traveling to Malmö to work in Copenhagen. The projections, however, show an increase in cross-border commuting starting from 2014 for the following years to lead to additional integration in the labor market. But all figures in the database are being produced by Statistics Denmark and Statistics Sweden in collaboration, and the database is open for everyone. What can also be mentioned about the data in the database is that it's used for regional, local, and other public organizations, as well as private companies for planning, follow-ups, and analysis surrounding Öresund and elsewhere. And an example of an analysis made is this atlas for commuting that shows traveling distances in different time intervals from locations such as train stations and city centers, regardless of national borders. And in this particular slide, it relates to the international airport in Copenhagen. All right. Well, the project also uncovered obstacles, both relating to the data and also in relation to the frame of making such a project. And the first, which Stanley mentions, is that there are bureaucratic issues on transferring data across national borders, which I think we briefly touched upon yesterday. But in our case, they're usually not too different to overcome. There's also hidden statistics or dark figures, which occur when cross-border commuters and their income isn't included in the national official statistic figures. And the city of Malmö is, for an example, lacking 5% of its working population, whereas the opposite problem arises in Copenhagen, where about 7,000 jobs are unaccounted for, but that's statistics. Methodological issues exist, but the constant flow of directives about European harmonizations on statistical data makes it easier to produce cross-border figures. And the biggest problem, according to Daniel, is that it's financial. Statistics Denmark, they add 300 hours on a yearly basis. And the region of Skåne, they add 1 million Swedish krona. And the consequence is that they had to prioritize, and all figures in the database were not updated in 2015. Also, following an organizational restructuring of the organizations who are working in the region, and also they enacted border controls as of recently in the region, there's not been so much focus on Øresund statistics or the database itself. But what has been done following the project has been quality assurance, such as updated certain statistics to new standards, and also the addition of some new tables regarding the educational levels of the commuters. Daniel did, however, also mention a few glimpses of light following the project. Amongst others, he mentioned a Dutch project where Statistics Denmark is participating. Also, the Finnish statistical authorities working together with the Nordic Council of Ministers on some joint nautical statistics, which is good, but unfortunately doesn't look at cross-border relations, which is also an area where Daniel emphasized me to ask to have more work on it in all the regions in general. But as Danielle also said, this was a short project presentation, and it's more meant as an inspiration, and I can't go really much into the depth of the project, unfortunately, except finalizing with this closing slide that Daniel gave me from OECD slide saying that the availability of cross-border statistics and research in the Öresund is the envy of many other cross-border areas, which sounds nice. Thanks.
If you'd like to see more details about the evaluation of Interreg programs and projects, please check out the different models Interact produced. In each of the models, you will find various materials such as videos, guidance papers, Q&A documents, links and other details.